record on this computer, allow participants to take share note. Good morning, everybody. Thank you again for volunteering. This is the Business Relations Strategists volunteer group for the 2025 Spring Career Fair. So today is the 6th, our first meeting. Obviously, we have crunch time because the career fair is on the 19th. And this group is tasked to reach out to companies that we can invite to the career fair last minute. So I hope you guys are seeing each other on LinkedIn. I tagged everyone. So my hope is that you guys connect with each other, share notes and all that and best practices. So I'm going to see. I know we had results from Saurav and Cameron. And then Pushkraj was like talking about he wanted to share something that would kind of, again, best practices to improve on it. But why don't I give the floor to Cameron to kind of like share how she got Leap of Faith? Is that right, Cameron? Can you speak?
Hi, yeah,
Good morning.
good morning.
So anything you want to share with the team as to how that worked for you? And then I'm going to ask Saurav and then Pushkraj.
Yeah, so I know Frank personally because he was my professor, and then he is like working in Leap of Faith as a alongside with the director. So I emailed him personally asking him could he join, or maybe forward to the people who interested in joining, because he has lots of connections and in healthcare IT department. So he agreed, saying like he definitely wants to join, and he will also forward to his connections and reach out to me. So yeah, that
was amazing. So Cameron, just again from the principles that are taught with business relations strategists, and if you even notice that I put it in the spreadsheet, I was kind of saying create the rapport first before you have a direct ask. Did you create some sort of rapport, or because of your relationship, you just went straight into the ask? How did this occur for you?
Yeah, I did follow the steps which was written in the spreadsheet. So first I used that in the LinkedIn, and then
Would you mind sharing the conversation? I mean, part of why I wanted to bring everybody together is that I know you guys are volunteering, but at the same time, we're still teaching the concept of business relations. So that's why that's why I'm dissecting what worked for you, and then Saurav eventually. Would you mind sharing your screen and sharing that conversation perhaps so everybody can learn from it? Thank you.
Sorry, yeah. So I'll just grab my screen.
Oh,
So
no.
I've had a few.
I think Cameron is still going,
Oh,
and then
okay,
you're
okay,
next.
got it.
So
Okay, sure.
Cameron, were you going, or should we give the floor to Saurav?
I think Saurav can go first. I need to open the stuff and get
Okay.
ready.
So give us a little background, Saurav, as to your with Wholesome, right? Wholesome was the company that you said you opened up. You're willing to have a conversation. So tell us more.
Yeah, so similar to the previous person, I have found that connecting through the existing network at IIT had been very helpful. Reed Kroloff is the Dean of Architecture. Through both years of service with the professional organization AIAS as a part of the executive board as treasurer, we developed a good rapport. He's also close with students. Wholesome is not a company it's a sustainability company, but I asked generally for an introduction, and he was more than happy to, give me that introduction. But before I sent him an email, I just kind of dipped by his office, said like, show my face, and said like, hey, how's it going? And he said, wonderful. So yeah, that's
Beautiful.
basically it.
Beautiful. Let me unpack that for a second now, Saurav. Okay. So again, I'm noticing a pattern here with Cameron and then now Saurav. So they actually capitalize on their existing relationships. And then if you notice, Saurav is what he did was tantamount to what we talk about in business relations as to getting on their radar. So number one, they already have a background of relatedness. Number two, they're constantly looking for ways to get on their radar, et cetera, such that when they do make an ask, and as you notice, for both Cameron and Sarah, once they made the ask, it was kind of like a greased wheel, if you will. And they pretty much just said yes to that. So good job to both of you guys. I want to open it up really quickly for any questions about that. It seems intuitive, but I realize that some of folks in this group are new to the concept. Now is your chance to ask some questions of Cameron and Sarah, and I'm going to unpack it as you ask questions. And then Sarah, I'm going to throw it back at you to give whatever specifics you had, because I know you had a good list of companies. So anybody have any questions? No questions? All right, Sarah. And then I'm going to just make the context of the call is just feel free to jump in if you had any questions at all. We're just having a conversation. So please take it back, Sarah.
Awesome. I'm gonna just briefly show that email chain that I had. It's technically for a class that I had to reach out to
Would you mind
Wholesome,
making it
but
bigger, please?
uh,
Can you? Or no? Or you could just read it, because
yeah, I'll just read it because
Yeah.
I don't know if I should show my emails anyways.
oh yeah, gotcha.
But basically, reaching out for that academic and multi-curricular aspect. He is actually, I've noticed this, I read a book once about in professional networking, is that people are kind of willing to help you because that like means that their work is appreciated. So when I was reading the email, he said that he hasn't been in contact with Wholesome for a while, and he's excited to get back in touch, and was excited that I was kind of initiating that rekindling that connection. So it's both enthusiasm on both sides. So I was pretty excited about that. Um, then yeah, I've also I do want to share my screen just 1 second because I use like AI to basically create a list of, can you see this or
It's coming up.
oh yeah, okay. Yeah, so I made this table of almost like 30 or so companies that AI just did, and it linked like the websites to the career pages. And this was ranking. I uploaded my resume as well with this, and it gave me contacts to search on LinkedIn, and then like basically ranked my resume and likelihood of like, oh, it's a 90% chance that you might have a response back from them. So using both AI tools and my networking skills to make those leads as much as possible.
Cool. Let's unpack that for a second, Saurav. So
Yeah.
it sounds like you were using AI for your job search already, correct?
Yeah, a bit.
So this search that you just created, was it specifically just for this endeavor, or it's your job search work?
It's in my job search.
Okay, cool.
in
And
general.
what's your favorite AI platform, you would say, for what we're up to?
Perplexity. I really
Perplexity,
like
yes.
Perplexity. Yeah.
What do you like about Perplexity? I like it because of the references, but what do you like about Perplexity for this task of job search?
Because Perplexity is actively connected to the internet. It's not like ChatGPT where it's just training on a database.
Yes.
So Perplexity can actually scrape through LinkedIn and get dynamic updates on like who to connect to,
Okay.
and like give you direct hyperlinks to those people, so that you can immediately just go through that table. I've used Notion, which is just a better format, like visually,
Mhm.
here. But
Mhm.
it's the same kind of strategy of getting the hyperlinks and connecting through LinkedIn.
Okay.
So merging both worlds.
Just 1 second. The conversation that I had with Pushkraj actually had to do with artificial intelligence as well. So please feel free to jump in, add whatever bit you have, Pushkraj, with this conversation, since Saurav already opened it up with LinkedIn. But to take it further, Saurav, I was going to request, because it's really all about prompts and how you kind of initiated to get to the point that you wanted. And part of the discussion that I'm having is obviously everybody can start from ground zero, so to speak, and give general, but obviously you've kind of evolved to a more elegant, questioning to give you the results that you have. Would you mind sharing that? Not necessarily now, but in my mind, I think I'm going to open up a Google Docs for this team so that, again, it's all about best practices. Any comments on that, Sora?
Yeah, I have the history pulled up right now, but
I
it's a
mean, you could
very
clean it up
in-depth.
if you want to, and then you could just dump it in
Yeah.
this Google Docs that I'm going to share with the team eventually.
Of course, yeah. But it's basically just right here. I'll definitely link it to you in the BRS chat. So definitely like being specific on what you exactly want
Yes.
for the thing. That specificity is key here when
That's
you're prompt
exactly why
engineering.
I'm asking, because like
Yeah.
I said, you tailored it to something already, and you obviously put in some work to get to that point in your prompt engineering. So that would be the most helpful piece in this AI part. So Pushkraj, anything to add, questions, from what Saurav shared, and then we'll take it from there?
Yeah, I had a question to Saurabh. Does this give like one single recruiter at a time for one specific company, or it gives you like some options of recruiters?
Yeah, good question. I am still trying to figure out like how to engineer it so efficiently.
Mhm.
I initially asked for 100 companies to just put in a table, and it gave me 30. I think it's a limitation of my PC, but it will literally AI is unlimited power. So as much
Yeah.
as you want, it'll list out all the recruiters and like hyperlink everything for you.
Mhm.
Okay,
I can show how I did. If Saurabh is done, I can show that.
Sure. Thank you.
thank you.
Yep. Should I share my screen?
Please. Cameron, while we're waiting for Pushkraj, were you ready to share your stuff after him?
Yeah, I can share.
Okay,
Uh,
you'll go after Pushkraj.
I'll have to just rejoin until then.
Oh, you
Cameron.
can't get in? Okay.
Yeah.
So while we're waiting for you, Pushkraj, I'm going to ask the team for any questions about anything that's been discussed so far. Additions, subtractions related to what we've talked about so far, questions.
I had a question on basically what level of like employee should I be targeting? So on LinkedIn, you can filter by actively hiring, like senior project managers or like project engineers. I'm in the construction industry.
Mhm.
So I was just wondering, like, should I just be targeting all three, or like should I go for the high? Because I'm not sure like interns or like juniors will have like much influence on hiring.
Correct, correct. So I'm glad you brought that question up, Saurav. So the whole idea of this volunteering was, aside from helping the university with this career fair dilemma, it's actually giving you guys the opportunity to reach out to the companies that you want. So coming from the strategic standpoint, Saurav, you definitely reach the people who could help you find the jobs eventually. The beauty of what we're doing is you have an excuse, and you're not talking about help me find a job. So you're creating a background of relatedness that is separate from your own job search. So if you guys notice how strategic this whole endeavor is from that standpoint. So going back to your question, Saurav, number one, we're obviously under a time constraint because we want to get people to the career fair. So the answer to your question is it varies really from company to company. I don't know what their situations are. Somebody might direct you to HR, or somebody might direct you to a hiring manager that actually goes out to the field and is focusing on these career fairs. So maybe that's something that you could use AI to refine it with, or just generalize it, because we do not know how different companies operate. Did that make sense? Any other questions from that, from the answer, or anybody else have a questions on Saurav's? Okay, cool. Pushkraj is yours.
Yep. Sharing my screen. So, firstly, give me a second. Firstly, I used ChatGPT just to get like list of companies. So for my prompt, I used like IT companies and all.
Mhm.
And this is my second prompt basically. So
Mhm.
this was like targeting, since we are short on time, this was targeting for Chicago. It's just a ChatGPT search.
Mhm.
It gave me 50 companies.
Mhm.
And yeah, before this, I started my LinkedIn Premium. I thought this is the perfect time to start, so I did that. And yeah, so going on LinkedIn now, suppose there's this company, any company like Pinterest, suppose. Uh, I just go on that company. In the people section, if you have premium, you'll get an option for search. So you can just put recruiting or recruiting Chicago,
Okay, so your
whatever.
strategy was going to the recruiting people. Got it.
Yes. So basically, yeah, we needed to connect with them, right?
Okay.
For the career fair. So
Mm-hmm.
I was mostly targeting for recruiters.
Okay.
So yeah, once you put the search, then it gives you list of all recruiters which are for this company. And you can just select one or two. You can send them messages
Mm-hmm.
like I did with him. I already have sent him a message. So
Okay.
while connecting, I added a note. I had same done it in ChatGPT. I put the same note everywhere, just changing the name and the company's name to make it faster.
Okay, hang on a second. May I see the message that you sent, please?
Yeah.
So Pushkraj went directly to the, okay, he just went directly for the ask, okay? None of this. So if you notice, when we talk about business relations, and I just want to say something little here, but obviously since our endeavor is time constrained, so I can see why people go directly for the ask. So he just introduced himself, career coach. Ooh, you even said use career coach or hosting a career for the 19, talented full student. There's a great opportunity. Ooh, okay. I like the standpoint of the way Pushkraj mentioned it as well. He kind of like took a certain personality, if you will, and then that was what they reacted to. And
Yeah. Sorry.
have they responded?
No, I was saying that I added, just for the time's sake, I added as a career coach volunteer in my
Mhm.
LinkedIn profile. So if they check my profile, they would take me seriously.
Beautiful. That's why I like these sharing, because it's all these best practices that I'm hoping is being propagated to all of the other volunteers. And again, it's not just useful for now. You could use it for further endeavors. Thank you, Pushkraj. What were you going to share next?
Yep. That's about it. I was just going to share this. Then uh, that's how I added so many companies in so less time.
Cool.
So
So between you and Saurav, I'm hoping that the rest of everybody else propagates them into the companies that they want to find connections with for job search. So thanks, Pushkraj and Saurav. Anybody else have questions specifically about AI? And then I'm going to go to Cameron, and then I'm going to back up a little bit and talk about business relations in general and up to what we were talking about from scratch. Cameron, you ready?
Yeah. Do you want me to share the email?
Please, just your opening. So just to keep everybody posted, Cameron again had an existing relationship with somebody at this company. So what you're showing, is it the first email that you sent out of the blue, or did you warm it up? What's the background?
I'm sharing the screen. Can you see my screen?
Yes, we see it beautifully. Thank you.
Sorry, I missed your question. What was that?
No,
So
it was more asking, what the background was. Did you kind of like do it like Pushkraj? Because Pushkraj, he didn't warm it up or anything. He just sent the request and he kind of like stated the intention. And I can understand the approach, because part of what we teach in business relations is don't go directly for the ask. But since our endeavor is time fused, if you will, I can see why we go directly into the ask. So this is best practices. I want to see what you did, Cameron.
the thing is, like, I'm like very close to my professors. We are like currently in the same semester, so I see every other day we have small talks. So I thought like I like reach out to him like for small guidance and stuff like that.
Good
So
background.
instead of like directly asking, I was like more looking into like guidance, like if you can see like seeking guidance. Like I know
Fantastic.
fantastic
I loved
connection.
your approach. Your angle was seeking guidance. And to the point that Saurav was making, if you approach people from the standpoint of, would you be open to helping me? Which again is the same thread that you're using, Cameron, right?
Yeah. So I just like he's a powerful person. I know like in his lecture he brings like people from all over the US to talk about stuffs going in healthcare, and he's so interested in healthcare and doing a lot of research. So I just told that I'm like his student, so just to remind that I'm in his class and that I appreciate his connections, and like before like asking him directly, I'm just like asking him if he can like interested in participating in career fair or something like that.
Mm-hmm.
And if he knows anyone in the healthcare domain, because I know he has more connection in this domain,
Mm-hmm.
people. So then I told like additionally his own company, which is Leap of Faith, would be interested, and that would be like great for our IIT. Or if he can direct me to the right person or any other organization, that would be also helpful. So
And I see Steve Gerald got back to you. He's alum as well, who kind of went through everything that you guys are going through with career services.
yeah.
Beautiful, beautiful.
I'm
It's
like,
going in circles.
I just sent him the link which you shared me like in a link form so that it will be easy to for him to like click on this
Yes.
thing, and then yeah, and he's like he'll reach out to me, I guess. I mean,
Very good job. Nice work, Cameron. Any questions from the team for Cameron? But again, you guys are seeing both of these folks kind of went for their background of relatedness with people in their existing networks. They capitalized that. The other thing that we always talk about in business relations is reading the situation. So if you notice, all the background that Cameron just gave us was part of her reading the situation. She knew some background information about the professor. She knew what the hooks were per se, so that she could get a good result once she made the ask. And obviously she got some beautiful results because of reading the situation and capitalizing on the existing relationship. Anybody have any questions?
I would like to share is like for the other companies, like I know either some of my friends work in that company or someone whom like I can like initially to get a like quick response, because if I email them in like LinkedIn, it will take a lot of time. Sometimes that's like down in some pile of pipelines. So I was just trying to find someone from friends or someone who knows the company, and then they can direct me to the right person instead of me going and reaching out to people. So another technique which I used is like I use this keyword like Career Fair Chicago,
Mhm.
like, and then you can see like posting here like like if you say Sterling Engineering, this is like something they go to different universities. So I thought like they would be interested in our university as well. So I went to their website and then found a person responsible, and then I like messaged them in LinkedIn, and then I'll be emailing them separately.
I'm loving all the sharing of best practices. So thank you for that share, Cameron.
From
That's pretty powerful. Anything else you wanted to share?
no, I think I'm good.
All right, cool. So back to the team. Any questions in general about anything that's been discussed so far? No questions? So can you do the raise your hand in the screen for the next question that I'm asking the team, actually? Hang on, let me just stop sharing so I can see. If you're brand new to the concept of business relations and doing cold outreach, can you please raise your hand with the on the reactions tab? Otherwise, I will just assume everybody has been in the business relations material. They know what we're talking about. I'm just trying to get a grasp of the level of this conversation I want to give to you guys. So nobody's, okay, so Bhavya is kind of new, Lasya is new to the concept, cool. Anybody else? All right, so thank you for letting me know that. That tells me where to go from what I'm about to talk about next. So into the LinkedIn group. So in the LinkedIn group, the concept of business relations is a huge topic that we talk about in let's see. Sorry, distraction by my door. Somebody stopped by and it's kind of like knocking, so. Illinois Tech Career Services. And then you guys know how to find the index. You have the index like so. You're going to click on business relations, and then it's going to open up the following document that talks about the index like this. And then you do a Control F. Hashtag, I'm kind of going faster because of the makeup of this group. If you're not understanding what I'm talking about, please DM me directly. But when we go to hashtag business relations like this, under the topic, you have two recordings to get the concept, and I actually shared it when you first volunteered. There's this one where it's an intro, and then the second, it's in the section where it says 106 applications, 12 interviews, 12 internship offers. There's a recording called The Power of Business Relationships, and you can listen to that recording. I trust some of you have had that. If you have any questions about it, now would be the time to ask in this group. Otherwise, I'm going to point to the third bullet. And what this talks about is how career services is hand-holding you in the concept of creating business relationships. So obviously Sarav and when they were sending out their messages, they kind of like used their background of relatedness. What I'm sharing with you is specifically from the standpoint of a true cold contact. And I saw some of the companies that you're listing down. You may need this if it's truly cold. What Saurav did and what Cameron did, because they had a background of relatedness, they could just go straight for the ask. In your case, if it's truly cold, the design principles that we talk about when you message is, number one, don't do what Saurav or even Pushkraj or even Cameron did. They kind of like went straight for the ask. We want you to open the door first before you make any ask. So when we're talking about the design principles, is it short? Is it worded such that you're expecting a response? And then lastly, do not make an immediate request, which is obviously contrary to what's been shared earlier. But I said the reason we're doing it is, number one, we have a time constraint. Number two, some of the folks have a background of relatedness already. And number three, because of the time constraint, kind of warm it up a little, but we have to go for the direct ask like Pushkraj did. So the three messages that I'm talking about are connect cold, connect practice, connect messaging. Those are when you go to the business relations material, you can see that there's this group of connect messaging. There's up to 22 suggestions. You have connect practice, and then you have connect cold, okay? The examples that we started this meeting with had nothing to do with what I'm sharing with you now, but these are known strategies if your target is truly cold. So we're saying that, I mean, it still could work, it still could not work, but we're suggesting that you warm it up a little with the suggestions that we have in the connect cold group of messages. And then you will see there's three messages that says wrong way 1, 2, and then 3. It's talking about how not to start that relationship with folks. So in a way, this group is kind of hybrid because I'm pretty much going against what's being taught in the business relations group, but I am giving you nuances in that we have time constraints. And let me parallel that to the time constraints as well, because we have some students who learn about business relations once they graduated. And just like we have the time constraint now for the career fair, those students also have that time constraint because they need to get hired. So that's an area that we wanted some of these best practices so that we could share what works and what doesn't work, just like the 3 students have shared so far in this group. Are there any questions about what I brought about in relation to the endeavor that we took on between now and the 19th? Especially the new students, or even the existing students who have used this for a while. Questions? No questions? So if there are no questions, I will just go to the current list of companies that we have, and then we will see if so. In the top in yellow, I kind of told you what I just discussed, build the rapport first always to open the door, okay? And then some of the information that you're seeing here, some people have used it. I just created this. You can play with it, and that's part of what we do here, because sometimes if there's something that's really working for you, feel free to share it with me, and then I'll share it with the team. So part of what we said is I'm part of Illinois Tech's team that's inviting companies to our career fair on the 19th. And then you could say, you know, I was wondering if you could point me to the person that I should talk to, which Cameron kind of addressed. And then this one in pink is what BJ shared with us that he wanted to bring about. So when you're having conversations with these companies, the immediate focus is about inviting them to the career fair. But BJ brought this about. And I think the second point is to your advantage. Remember, we said that this endeavor is allowing you to talk to your target people and not necessarily asking them about jobs. So the second part that BJ brought to our attention, where he said we'd also love to build a recruiting relationship beyond the career fair. So guess what that door opens for you guys? You can have continuing conversations with these companies and these people that could help you find jobs, and you're different from all these other people talking to them because you're talking about something that's not about help me find a job. Questions about what I just said? No questions? I guess I must be very, very clear because there are no questions. So Samhita, you have the, you guys now know how to use, I see that Sritej added that. Okay. It's only 10:25, but I don't want to waste any more time if you guys have no questions. I think with the little work that we did with the spreadsheet, and actually I want to acknowledge everybody for how quickly this kind of turned around. Yesterday, actually it was Monday, or whenever we sent out the requests for volunteers, it came from a concept, and because of the melding of minds, so to speak, look at how far we are at this moment, sharing additional best practices. So one of the things I want to bring to your attention as well is if we create some results that are quite tangible, guess what you could get to talk about during your interviews. I mean, the results of the team will also be part of your results that you can talk about during interviews. So let's accomplish something. Saurav, question.
Yeah, I just wanted to add, after learning the best practice from Pushkaraj, I just added a section on my volunteers, saying like career fair coordinator. So it just adds that legitimacy. I find that one best practice is like not just like asking for something in return, but also like offering value to someone. So offering what I said was exclusive access to high skilled Illinois Tech students. So yeah, I mean, so I think that's like a big draw for people. That's just not just like, hey, come to my career fair.
Yes. So I
Yeah.
like that. So you're like giving value to the students first, and I see the way that you're thinking in the way that you're presenting yourself. You're taking responsibility for how you're landing on the listener. So thank you, Saurav. Dhruv,
Hi, Bernie.
hey,
Yeah, so I don't necessarily have a question, but I see here my colleagues are struggling to find, exactly people who they might reach out on LinkedIn. So I think I have a strategy. If you don't mind, I could share.
please.
I'll share my screen.
Okay.
Is it visible?
Yes.
Yeah, here. So mostly what people do, they are just like campus recruiting, and then here they just go to people here and just find the people. How this search works is that LinkedIn filters anything that is related to campus and recruiting. But what here is necessary is that, see here, it gives us about 102K results, right?
Mm-hmm.
So here, just a little tweak. If we add here this end keyword,
Mm-hmm.
it would search out filter in their profile which would have both campus and recruiting both together. So see here, from 102K result, it is giving me around 82,000 results right now.
Mm-hmm.
Now what more we can do is we can go here for more filters, and we are short on time, right? So we could add location here, like Chicago, and see, we are from 102K results to just 1,300 people.
Mm-hmm.
And then we can so see, it directly gives it Greater Chicago area campus recruiting special at Deloitte. Here again, campus recruiting special at this company, that company. So this easily filters out a lot of people, and then we would not necessarily need to find from a bunch of people to whom we need.
Yes.
And currently do not have LinkedIn Premium. Otherwise, if you have Premium, you can also like filter out more and more to
Yes.
get exactly the people you need.
Yes, actually, I want more of these suggestions for people on non-premium because we get to a bigger group that way. So, but we'll cover both. So thank you, Drew. I like you introducing the concept of and to Drew's point, aside from putting campus and recruiting, if you wanted to further tailor down your 1,300 to your specific area for your major, construction management or computer science, that sort of stuff. So thank you, Drew, for introducing the concept of the end tool, if you will, for LinkedIn. So appreciate that, Drew. Anything else you wanted to add?
My pleasure. No, that's it.
Awesome. Great. Thank you, Drew. I think somebody else had their hands raised. Pushkraj?
Yeah, just a small question, like with career fair perspective,
Mhm.
are there any restrictions or limitations on the companies which we should look for?
Like what specific question did you have? Because I mean, to answer your question, if it's a company that hires the majors that we have, by all means invite them. So did you have a specific angle to that question?
Yeah, I mean, what should we be careful about while we are uh, targeting companies?
What should you be careful of? Okay, so just to answer that question from the perspective of what we're up to, we're in a time crunch. We want to bring more companies in this last minute because actually I forgot to give you guys a background of what we're talking about. The number of companies coming to this year's career fair is much, much less than previous years. So what our career services team did was to actually reach out to our colleagues in the other universities. And this isn't just Illinois Tech. I suspect it has to do with the climate, with the new administration, blah, blah, blah. So companies, I'm just speculating, obviously, but that's neither here nor there. The fact of the matter is we have less companies coming on campus, but what I love about the volunteer groups that people did, instead of just having a core team of career services going out for employee resource, we just expanded that reach. And, like even the knowledge that we shared in this quick call is expanding that. So that's why we're doing what we're doing. So back to the question of Pushkraj, in that what should we be careful of? At this point in time, because we're just trying to magnify the number of companies, I would say, just make the ask very respectfully. I mean, because usually the problem when we get into trouble or when we need to be careful is if we kind of represent the university in a quote unquote bad light. Okay, so when we're talking about representing ourselves, just make sure you're sticking to the guidelines that we talk about in the group. But to answer your question directly, Pushkraj, I didn't have anything directly, Pushkraj, as far as what do you need to be careful of. What we're doing really is you just opening the door, having a conversation, saying, hey, we're just inviting companies to the career fair. Who do I talk to? So if they're able to find the people that they need as well, to the point that Saurabh was making earlier, because it's got to be a win-win situation, right? It's got to work for them. It's got to work for us. So I think as long as you have both bases covered, and then your ask is very respectful, and we're not misrepresenting the university, I think we're still good. But as you're going through your outreach, I realize that some things will come up. You have a direct line to me and Nick Mancari, obviously, for those questions. Did that help, Pushkraj?
Yeah, I mean, I'll ask this directly. Can we actually get a list of companies which were there before in previous years, so that it might help us analyze things,
Yeah,
and
that-
maybe some of us can approach them again to convert it.
Well, actually, that was part of the worry. Okay. Okay. Now you were asking for things to stay away from. Part of the worry when we opened the door to have students help us was we have an employee resource team that's existing. So obviously this team is already doing some outreach. I can ask them for the list of companies, but part of what we did not want to do was our professional team is already reaching out, and then you're going to have extraneous people now doing the same thing. So part of what we don't want to appear to this companies as is being disorganized. So I'm glad you brought that up, actually. That's part of what we were worried about. That this was somebody that we already contacted before. And if you notice in the list, I think Nick at the bottom, and he highlighted it in red. Once he sees a company that we already reached out to, he's going to grab it and put it in the bottom so that we all know as a team that somebody is already talking to them. So I'm glad you mentioned that, Pushkraj. Questions about that? No questions?
I have a question, Dhoni.
Go ahead, please.
Yeah. So in that context, like, do we need to first give the names in the Excel and then contact them, or
This
we
is,
can directly?
we don't have the time to coordinate that. That's why, we're trying to keep everything tight within the group. So nobody is approving this. And if you notice, Saurav and Cameron kind of went for their contacts. They didn't give us anything to check or whatever. So back to your question, I guess you use your knowledge of business relations and just start doing the outreach, and hopefully we'll get results just like they did so far. Does it make sense?
Yeah. Okay.
Or was there something else to your question?
No, I mean, that is what, like, I was
Yeah,
actually.
you don't need to check. You don't need to check.
Yeah.
This is totally up to you guys, because guess what the employee resource team is doing right now? They're busy on the phones, making these calls to their existing list. So we're actually magnifying that effort, and I'm loving it, actually, because what you guys aren't even realizing, and I noticed this morning, is this is actually a pilot as to what we could do, because it's a win-win for the university, helping them bring more companies to the career fair, but more importantly, you guys are very strategically reaching out to the companies that you want to work for and having all these contacts already. So this is the pilot, actually, of something that's bigger and better, and you guys are the first to make this happen. Good questions, Vandana. Anybody else?
Thank you.
No questions? It's 10:36. If there are no other questions, feel free to reach out directly to me or post your question in the chat group on LinkedIn. Otherwise, I'll be sharing this recording shortly for the people who haven't joined us, and I'm excited to see some of your additions to the spreadsheet. All right, guys, have a great day.
Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.